Holy Fleischer, Batman! Tiki here, and welcome to the Animated Batcave, the show where BlueDragonFive, the animated series expert, takes me through my maiden voyage through the landmark 90s Batman, the animated series, on my first run watching the show.
Yeah, you see, folks, long ago I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham, in a way.
And tonight we're talking about the laughing fish.
Oh, yeah.
Dragon, this is one of, if not your personal favorites, right?
Oh, this is easily my favorite of all of Batman the Animated Series, easily.
Your favorite?
Easily my favorite. If I that's the easiest decision I could ever make. Tiki, let me put it to you this way, right? There are two things Batman as a whole that I know, and we always use the analogy, know it like the back of your hand, but there are two things Batman that I do legitimately know line for line, visual per visual. That's Mask of the Phantasm and this. And I know every frame of this episode.
You know, I gotta say, just based on my initial reactions, because of course this is my first time watching through and you've hyped this up to me, I'm not gonna beat around the bush, Dragon. This is also my personal favorite.
Nice.
And the holy is for a reason, because the holy Fleischer, Dragon, my god, tell me if I'm wrong. This is Batman the Animated Series meets Max Fleischer in a big way. Like, I know the whole series has kind of a Max Fleischer, like, aesthetic to it, but just the atmosphere and the mystery to it and kind of like the gravitas, I don't know, man. It just it really struck me, especially in that third act.
It does, interestingly, I've never really thought of it this way, but when you say it like that, Tiki, I think you're absolutely correct, and just didn't quite dawn on me that, yeah, it is the Fleischer equivalent. If you had to use one sampling of Batman the Animated Series, because again, they were influenced by the Fleischer Superman cartoons, and the Space Ghost. Those were the inspirations. Those are the main inspirations that brought about Batman the Animated Series, specifically in Batman's design. But there's always a Fleischer influence, and but yeah, you're right. If you look at this episode, it is absolutely it's the only one that you could just take out of all the animated series, and you could say, this is there's no Fleischer Batman show, but if there was, it would be this episode.
Exactly.
It's so great, yeah.
All right, so hit us with some backstory on it.
Okay, all right. Here's the backstory on the Laughing Fish. So this one has a very interesting backstory. So this was directed by our Heart of Ice directors. It was directed by Bruce Timm himself and written by Paul Dini. So we have the top tier Batman crew on this. I mean, it's here's the thing. They've written and directed episodes.
These are basically the Lennon and McCartney of Batman the Animated Series.
Exactly. I mean, here's the thing. They're rarely paired together unless it's a big deal. Again, last time they were paired together, to my recollection, was Heart of Ice. That's the last time, going chronologically, they were paired together on an episode. Of course, you know how fantastic that was. And I mean, short of something, even like Mask of the Phantasm, they're both involved. There are other directors and writers present during that, but it's still I believe Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski directed that. And you had Paul Dini along with Alan Burnett and various other, Marty Pasco and others working on that. So it's, but yeah, it's a big deal. Let's get the big two. Basically, whenever anyone thinks of Batman the Animated Series, you're always thinking of who created Batman the Animated Series. Well, Bruce Timm is the instant go-to, and of course, the best episodes are written by Paul Dini. So that's the fusion you think of. So again, you got to remember too. So Paul Dini, of course, famously, he's the definitive writer for the Joker, especially in the animated series, and many people will look to as one of the best Joker writers. And think about this: you got Mask of the Phantasm, which of course sports, I think, the best Joker performance of anything. And you have Joker's Favor, which is a very great Joker episode, and of course,
that's one of those episodes that kind of sneaks up on you. Whenever I think about it, it's oh yeah, that was really good.
And again, I'm just going chronologically. I mean, that's kind of what you have at this point, Paul Dini with the Joker. I mean, he did a little bit of Christmas with the Joker. He wasn't the official writer of that, but he was around and he kind of helped. He kind of spotted that one. He kind of helped out Eddie Gordetsky when he was writing that one. Point is, So you have the big two working on this one. The studio is Dong Yang. Now, Dong Yang is no Spectrum, but these guys like it's like one below the tier of Spectrum is probably Dong Yang. Dong Yang, they worked on some of the Mask of the Phantasm. They did Joker's Favor. They did Two-Face Part 2. They did Perchance the Dream. So again, a lot of great talent coming from Dong Yang. Let's see. So here's the interesting story about Laughing Fish. I'll keep it simple. Is that Laughing Fish is actually an adaptation. It was not an original idea, and I mean this, and this is really impressive. So, Batman the Animated Series is greatly inspired by the '70s run of Batman. For all intents and purposes, some of the best episodes are borrowing from that '70s Detective Batman era, like not the Frank Miller Batman per se, but that O'Neil and Adams run, which again, until years later when we get like Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder, Tiki, you don't have like two guys known for a run on Batman like those two guys. Like these guys are, I'm always saying about Snyder and Capullo, like they're the next O'Neil and Adams in comics, but O'Neil and Adams, they're the original of the Detective Batman. These guys, they brought the '40s Batman charm into the '70s. That's kind of what they were known for. And Laughing Fish is an amalgamation of the best Joker stories. That's the best way of putting it. It's an amalgamation of 3 of the best Joker stories ever written to this day. Like the Heath Ledger Joker also borrows from some of the sources that this episode adapts. You have, I've covered a little bit of this when we talked about The Dark Knight when we did the commentary, so I'll keep this brief. This reintroduced the Joker. There was a story that reintroduced the Joker in the '70s called The Joker's Five-Way Revenge. That was O'Neil and Adams' first time bringing the Joker back in a big way, because in the '60s, it was during that PC age where we couldn't have the Joker killing people left and right like he had in the '40s, so they kind of got rid of Joker and brought him back very, very sparingly, and this is the first time Joker's back, and he's killing people with a smile and all sorts of stuff like that, and that's what five-way. This episode, for the most part, is five-way revenge. Like the Copyright Office, that's all five-way. Well, yeah, it's all most of that is five-way revenge, and you also have the shark. Basically, the third act is all five-way revenge. That's the best way of putting it. The third act is all five-way revenge, and Act 1 is the Laughing Fish stories. There's a story called The Laughing Fish by Steve Englehart and Marshall Rogers, which is the whole copywriting fish idea. Fish with a smile. And basically, for good measure, what they used to fill out the rest of it, basically kind of fill out the rest of the episode, was they pulled from Batman #1, which is the initial Joker plot that gets everything started, where, again, we see this in The Dark Knight as well. It's Joker announcing who his victims are going to be, and it's up to Batman and the GCPD to stop him, so they have the sting operations and everything, and the 2 Joker stories I already mentioned.
That's really fascinating that's the first Joker story, because it really speaks volumes to how much that stick around and become a part of his character. It's kind of like the like, oh, there goes Charlie Brown, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
it is.
Joker, like making a scene on public TV, trying to win everyone over, and there goes Joker just trying to mind fuck everybody.
And that's the thing, Tiki, is that all of the other 2 stories that I mentioned, they're all, in essence, they're retellings of that first Joker story. We're retelling the best Joker stories. Retell that first appearance in some way, where he announces his targets on the TV, and of course it's up to them to stop that from happening. Of course, you saw it with Death of the Family. They referenced that too. It's like, again, it's based on the first Batman story. It's all relative in some capacity. Five-Way Revenge is in essence a retelling of that first story in some capacity.
Interesting.
Like basically every few decades they'll attempt to basically refit that into, like, every couple of decades they'll try to readapt that story. And maybe let me redact that a little bit. The other 2 stories are different enough, but that first story, again, it has an impact. And again, Dark Knight, again, proof in the pudding of, like, yeah, it comes back it's like a bad penny in the best of ways. It'll turn up. You're gonna have Joker targeting people and it not going well. So let's see, I think one last thing here. Okay, here's the last thing. So this always baffles me. As much as I love this episode, there's one person who's not crazy about this episode, and that is Bruce Timm.
Really?
Yeah, Bruce Timm, and he doesn't really talk about it all that much. And I would hope that he's come around on this in later years. But I remember at least maybe 10 or so years ago he mentioned this, that he always he always wanted the episode to be really scary. Again, they really tried to go for it. You can tell in the musical score, which, by the way, is Shirley Walker. See, a lot of the time, Shirley Walker will supervise the other composers, and of course, she wrote the main themes that you know and love with the villains. And the rest of the episodes will be like a different composer, or a good composer. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, like usually Shirley Walker's best saved for the big, like Mask of the Phantasm is all Shirley Walker. This is all Shirley Walker, and they kind of went for a very Hitchcockian kind of Bernard Herrmann-esque score for this episode because they were really trying to sell the scariness of like it. Like again, if Five Way Revenge is Joker's horrifying comeback story, that's kind of what they're challenged to kind of recapture in this. So again, it really feels like Five Way Revenge with what they're trying to do here. So they Bruce Timm wanted to push that. He wanted to push the Hitchcockian nature of it. He wanted to get real scary with it. And he was never thought it lived up to its full potential. He never thought it was scary enough, and certain things felt like, I don't know, but like the binary Joker compound didn't rub him the right way. And again, that's from Laughing Fish. So again, it's kind of I just think he's being hard on himself. That's the thing. It always baffles me. Like, has he not think this is a fantastic episode? He never referenced. He always dodges this episode for some reason.
Interesting.
I guess the last thing with our visual here that kind of starts off the episode, to jump right into it, is this episode also has the honor of the original Batman the Animated Series episodes, of the original ones, not the new adventures, not the revamp, none of that, because they got rid of it when they got to the revamp. In the original Batman the Animated Series, the original 65, I think, there are only 2 episodes that do not have a title card, and 2 of the best episodes, Heart of Ice, Laughing Fish. So this episode, interestingly, does not have a title card. What was your reaction to that, Tiki?
Well, first of all, Dragon, just diving right into the episode, I love that the atmosphere of that sign waving on the wharf. You know me, I love a good waterfront setting.
Yeah, and think of that reaction, Tiki, of like for those two episodes. You had like the heartwarming, like you're watching an episode, you're expecting, okay, if I'm watching Batman regularly, okay, title card, then the story gets kicked off. And like Heart of Ice, snow, oh, look, pretty, I'm enamored by our new villain. And in this case, it's like, oh man, it's kind of creepy going on here. I'm expecting a title card, and what's this? Yeah, eerie sign by the waterfront.
Yeah, and I just love, like I said, I just love the how it sets the mood for the rest of the episode going forward. It's almost kind of like a thesis statement in an image. You know what I mean?
It is. So we start. It's a stormy night in Gotham. We see the smiling fish sign. Again, it's a good omen for something bad's about to happen. You see a little newspaper in like a box. It says Joker still at large in the papers, which, oh boy, that's again, it's like it's spelling doom so well in the tone of the episode, like these little visual details. If you don't see it, it's fine, but if you see it, it's like, okay, Joker's gonna make his move soon, and it's gonna be big. So we're by the waterfront. These fishermen, by the way, so all of this again, I think this is one of the best adaptations they ever did in the animated series. There are some good ones, but I think this one is probably the best because they kind of. Not only did they're adapting 3 source materials, and it's kind of more iconic than all 3 of them put together in some way, shape, or form. Like I think more people remember the episode than they would the comics. Because again, you have to look for like not counting Batman #1, bear in mind not counting that, but I think this is like the best version of all 3 of those stories in some way, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because this is like straight from the Laughing Fish where it starts.
It basically kind of, from what I understand, it basically takes all the best elements of the scattered but good comic and kind of weaves them all together to form a cohesive narrative, right?
Yeah, and let me put it to you this way, because I don't want to just get so I don't get tripped up on this later. Real quick, I was watching this years and years ago, and for many years. I never knew this was based on any originals. I didn't know this was based on a comic. I didn't know they were adapting anything with this episode. So again, once years later, I found out, oh my God, not only that, they adapted. And then I found out, oh my God, not only did they adapt like Laughing Fish, they did like 2 other stories. Oh my God. That's the thing. I mean, it stands that well on its own, even if you've never read those stories. Again, you're getting the experience of reading those 3 influential Joker stories for the first time. Again, it's like it's 3 for the price of 1 without even knowing it. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so these fishermen, they drop the catch of the day.
Oh
Okay,
man.
let's see what we got. And they have the shine a spotlight, and we get the image that we have before us here, where we reveal Joker fish. It's the fish with the Joker's face. They're all repelled and disgusted, like, ugh. And of course, we pan up and we have this fantastic. We have a few moments in this Tiki that still to this day chill me to the bone of like how awesome a Batman moment it is, where we pan up and we reveal with that great music, that great Shirley Walker
That's what
music.
I'm talking about in terms of like the Fleischer Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Batman is. I'll say this. I mean, this episode has some of the best looking Bat. Again, definitely the most Flesher looking Batman animation. When we get to it later on, you know what I'm talking about. There's the best Flesher looking shot of
Oh, I know
Batman.
what you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly what you're
There are
talking
two shots that are the most Flesher looking things, and they're both later on. There, you know exactly what they are. We'll
about.
get there. I wish I knew. I wish I knew for sure if like they were designed like if they could ever do the Flesher thing they were trying to do with this episode or not. That's the thing I really wonder if like this episode is like a goal, but we got to be like Flesher Man. But seriously, there are two moments. Not even counting the Flesher moments are great, and we'll talk about those later. But there are two moments aside from those that really jump out to me. Is like still like it brings out the kid in me watching Batman the animated series for the first time. And I should mention this too. Um, there are two episodes. One we haven't gotten to yet. There are two episodes of Batman the animated series that not only do I again I already mentioned I know this in Phantasm like the back of my hand, but there are two nostalgic favorites for Batman. So this one and one we haven't gotten to yet that whenever I think of all the happy memories I had of Batman the Animated Series, it's this episode and the other one that just stuck with me. But but yeah, I mean, like these moments is gonna bring that back for me. It's like, oh my god, yeah! For the first time, we pan up and it's Batman saying dramatically, "So he's made his move."
That's a great first line from Batman in the episode.
And I love Scott Snyder years later in like Death of the Family. We have this just long standing great idea that Batman, of all the Batman villains, the one that Batman is always anxious over is the Joker, and the one he knows Joker's never dead when he thinks he's died, and he just knows he's coming back, and he's just like he's waiting for the next plot. And it's like always in the back of Batman's mind, like I'm waiting for the Joker to turn up again because I gotta stop him because I know he's around. All right, so let's see. So then we have the spinning newspaper. And this feels very Flesher in itself too. Spinning newspaper.
Yeah, definitely.
Joker fish terrify the waterfront. Another mad plot, and as we see the Joker's face, and a really great transition from the newspaper to Alfred reading the newspaper as the Batmobile re-enters the cave.
Yeah, a lot of good transitions, Dragon, in this episode. It's kind of a running thing.
Oh yeah, and we have this bit here, and I love this. And again, the Bruce Timm's always liked the silent Batman. I think this moment kind of speaks to that, where Batman re-enters the cave, and without a word, he just enters. And this speaks to the Batman Alfred comedy in a great way. Batman, he goes in the cave after he gets out of the car, and he puts the Joker fish on like a little tray on the table, and Alfred has the winning line. Dining in tonight, sir. And this line's like whenever I think of like Kevin Conroy deliveries of Batman. If I ever need to like imitate a Batman voice, it's always the dissection tray, please, Alfred. It's just like that line. It just summarizes Batman and Alfred's dynamic. If you ever needed one scene from the animated series for me, it's always like Alfred's always there with a witty line, and Batman's like, "Okay, Alfred, very funny. Just get the tray, please." That's what their dynamic is. You know, it's like I love him, but he's always the smart aleck, that butler of mine. Just give me that dissection. That's funny.
Yeah.
So he's asking, do you have any ideas about what's going on? Any idea what our happy friend's up to this time? And Batman, again, the age-old Batman Joker thing here where he says, normal criminals have logical motives, but the Joker's insane schemes make sense to him alone. Cut to the Copyright Office. Boy, now this scene again is plumb right out of it's right out of but better with Mark Hamill involved in this. It's so much, and Mark Hamill. Maybe we even got Harley Quinn in there too, because again, she wasn't created when the original story was put out, so it's even better. Joker, we have the Copyright Office, Harley Quinn, and two fisherman thugs. I love that he has these two fisherman thugs for the whole thing. By the way, so he keeps up with the theme, which is nice. Harley Quinn enters. Ahem! Look alive, wage slaves! Presenting that caliph of clowns, that mogul of multibanks, the one, the only Joker! He walks right in.
I don't know what it is, Dragon, but Joker has just a real presence in this episode. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's very Mask of the Phantasm-esque. I mean, maybe it's like just the same kind of ambition that they had with it, or I don't know. What do you think?
Well, again, I mean, if
He's
I'm
got
not
the
mistaken,
presence, he's got like that hat, he's larger than life in this episode, I think, more so than usual.
the irony of the hat and the brim is that in Phantasm, many people pointed out, he's wearing the black coat and the black hat, which is, it's very much like '89, Joker in '89, and what it looked like there, like especially when it was Jack Napier in the origin scene, in the movie I'm referring to, but in this, again for years I just thought it was like a cool look that we never went back to Joker with the hat and the coat that often. But the reason they went for it here is because in Laughing Fish, there's one of the most iconic Joker panels in comics. One of them, they're short of obviously it's no killing. The killing joke pose is the iconic Joker image. As you know, the whole like laughing.
Oh yeah, sure.
One of it's like in the top 5 of the Joker images, along with him with the crowbar and stuff like that, is him entering the room with all the ha-ha-has around him, wearing the purple coat and the hat, and taking his hat off as he enters the place. And Mark Hamill brought it to life with the Joker laugh that has defined that character for at least more than 25 years at this point. So he enters, and I love the symmetry. There's things always struck me ever as a kid. Like I love the symmetry. If he laughs when he comes in and he laughs as he exits, it's like Joker completing a performance that he's rehearsed for days. Walking into this copyright office, he has the whole thing plotted out. He knows exactly what he's going to do. It's Joker as the performing criminal. That's what we have here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, this kills me. He's just he laughs. He walks in there, and we have G. Carl Francis here saying, "Great Scott!" And of course, Joker's response is, "Actually, I'm Irish." Oh god, just wonderful. Let's see. So after that, so he walks up the Francis here, says, "Good morning, Mister," and just reads the nameplate, Francis. Let me introduce my associates. Miss Quinn, Enchanty. Again, she mispronounces Enchante. It's just the Harley again acting with the refinement. Like she's giving a grand entrance to a royal practically, and she just can't get Enchante right. And
or just straight up forgets his assistants' names.
Yes, and Messrs. I take it. I love the fact that he uses Messrs. Messrs is like the old way you introduce people in the '40s. That's what that's in reference. He always like Messrs. Abbott and Costello. That's kind of what you would do there. It's like but it's sort of like that's and Messrs. Well, their names escape me at the moment. No matter. You see, Mr. Francis, we gentlemen of business have arrangements to discuss. Arrangements? For my fish, of course. Just tosses a Joker fish on the desk. The perfect staging in this whole thing. It's like he's rehearsed this, which for the Joker, I would not put it past him. He's rehearsed this entire thing. For my fish, of course. You see, things have been worked out. Basically, he says, things have been worked out far in advance, Francis. You're merely the last tiny cog in my grand design. So don't speak to me again, okay? And again, the facial animation on Joker we're going to get to an episode this season, Tiki, that there's the only one that rivals this in terms of the Joker scene. Again, Paul Dini written it. The only other one that rivals this in terms of like how great you can have a Joker scene play and how well it can be animated. Joker landing all these iconic poses as he's going around. Of course, Francis has been told to shut up here, which is important. And I think, again, I'm convinced that this is Joker striking a beat where he wants him to speak, and that's why he's like saying it directly like this as he poses him a question here, where he says, "What's everyone in town talking about?" Moment of pause. "Your fish?" And of course, you see Joker take off in an instant, slaps him with the fish. I thought I told you not to speak. Slaps him in the face with the fish. God, it's hilarious.
It does get kind of dark with the whole, like with just torturing this everyman. It very much calls to mind The Perfect Favor in a way.
Yeah, the Joker's favor, yeah.
Yeah, Joker's favor. Sorry.
And that's the thing. Paul Dini always had this philosophy when writing the Joker is that Joker's the guy in the comedy club who will pick out a guy to bully in the audience, only he'll follow him home. Like that's the Joker in a nutshell. Where I mean, he didn't necessarily say he'd follow him home, but he said he would just pick on like a guy in a comedy, like he's a comedian on stage who would pick out a guy in the audience to keep who's heckling him or like to heckle the guy in the audience just to mess with him and terrify him, but he wouldn't let up, and that's the Joker. And Francis here absolutely represents that. And again, mainly he needs Francis. And the greater idea in the whole thing, Teak, is that one, it's an insane Joker idea that has enough logic for what he's trying to do here, and that he wants to copyright Fish, which is an impossibility. The greater plot, again, the background plot of what he's actually doing here is that he just wants to do another, it's the whole dance with Batman till they're both dead idea. So he wants to challenge Batman with a crime and see if he can catch him and all that stuff. That's really just, again, he's baiting, he's putting things into play, really, just so he can kind of dance around Batman. That's really what he's doing this whole time.
And, I'm glad you got to the core of that now, because I really feel like that's the episode's strength. This episode really is kind of like the perfect encapsulation of that idea. And it really, I should probably speak to this on my final thoughts, but I guess, just kind of moving forward as we go through this, that really is what I dug about the episode, is that it was very much kind of this standalone, it rose above Dragon. It really, it really kind of rose above the rest in terms of just delivering the psychology of that relationship.
Yeah. So importantly, again, he's just finding. I'm convinced that he found an excuse to hit this guy. So Harley would, again, as perfectly planned here, Harley would spray him like, "Ugh, fish stink a Rooney," and she sprays him with the perfume, which we're going to find out has a very important role later on. All better. And that's the moment that I don't know why that moment's always been burned in my brain ever since I was a kid. It's that Harley Quinn spraying the guy, and then later on what happens to him happening to him.
It's kind of horrifying on a rewatch for sure.
It is, but again, it's so malicious. It's so maliciously clever, and again, it's so years later, you see how well orchestrated it is. But in itself, it is just horrifying. So as I was saying, as Joker says here, as I was saying, what's everyone in Gotham talking about? My fish, of course, since every fish in Gotham bears my famous and frankly fabulous face, I should be getting a cut of the profits. Say, basically for every fish product sold. Say a nickel per fish sandwich.
A nickel per sandwich, 50 cents for sardines, millions of dollars a day to finance my happily hedonistic lifestyle.
So which of your tedious copyright forms do I fill out first? You may speak now. So then,
I love that dichotomy of the Joker being so excited to fill out tedious paperwork, but in the, for the sake of causing chaos, in the name of causing chaos, he's willing to go through the boring paperwork.
That's the thing. That's why he's picked such a ridiculous caper, is that, again, it's an impossibility, which, again, only the Joker would do, but, again, it would definitely feel you have to bring in an outside force to take down this guy because you can't reason with this guy. So then, and by the way, George DeZunza. Now, this guy's gonna be important later on because they loved. I have to think that someone loved this episode because they brought back the actor who played G. Carl Francis back as the ventriloquist years later. Or at least, well, not years later, but I guess a year later. When they get season 3, we get the ventriloquist, and we do that. They bring back George DeZunza, who does an even better job there. It's a great. But the point is, I just love that we bring back G. Carl Francis here, and he's just this poor weaselly guy. Well, he's not even with this poor whispery guy. He's saying, but you can't copyright fish. They're a natural resource. So then we have this great heartbreak, and Mark Hamill just, oh my God, he should have got an Emmy for this episode. He was so good. Oh God. He's just Joker's so genuinely offended here. Which is, but they share my unique face. Colonel Sanders has chickens, and they don't even have mustaches. Trying to teach Joker, eh? Well, we'll see who has the last laugh. You have
love the I love the image of the Joker holding up the fish, and he's just like, just like, the side by side comparison.
God, like the whole like the mustache motion and everything. It's so funny. But then again, we go from, and this is the great thing they always, that Mark Hamill, he had to crack the DNA with the Jokers. And you need a balance of charismatic and hilarious as well as menacing, because he goes from that, which is hysterical. And again, that's what's going to get the kids, and it's like, oh my god, I love this Joker character. But then there's the terror of like, you have until midnight tonight to change your mind, or else you'll be the poorest fish of all. And he laughs, and again, then he goes to laughing again. He's so unpredictable. He's laughing, that full circle element of the scene. He leaves, and of course Harlow's saying bye bye, and then just that he's crazy. So all that's great. And we're back in the Batcave, just absorbing just what happened, which is just entertaining as all get out. And then it's going to get even better. So we're in the Batcave, and again, Batman post dissection. Again, this is Batman's the consummate detective here, which is always good. This is exposition made interesting, and again, done through an educational venue for the kids too. Which there are different types of toxins. Always good to know what kind of what the differences are. It can always help you to come up with an antitoxin. It's kind of a little PSA, I guess. There, like antitoxins. There's a science to it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's a post dissection. He finds that the toxins only affects fish, and later on, we kind of find it affects animals, not humans. That's the main point. That he has a different strain of it. The gaseous strain, that's what's going to affect people, and the infection, like the one that can, it's like a viral thing for the animal toxin anyway. So. So it's then Joker. In commenting on the Joker, Alfred says, maybe he's just trying to make us die from disgust, just looking at the Joker face on the fish there. So then the news. Then there's a news broadcast on about the Joker fish outbreak, which is then interrupted by one of the best parts of the whole episode, the commercial.
Oh yes, oh yes.
They're finny and funny and oh so delicious, joyous and jolly, Joker fish.
Dragon, I love the image of Harley as like the 1950s stay-at-home mom with the apron.
It's just this is a 50s ad done hilariously right. It feels almost like Natural Born Killers-esque in a way, but just less funnier. So we have this 50s happy-go-lucky ad with these ridiculous, again, of course, like the idea of Joker intercepting the news. I mean, I think it calls to mind 89, like one of my favorite scenes from Batman 89 where Joker has his Smilex commercial, which that's just great. And again, feels classic. I think 89 might have been a direct influence on this because again, Joker's done this a lot in the comics, but I don't know. I feel like they're pulling from 89 on the flair of which it had. Because again, made in such close proximity to each other in '89, and 2 years later we get this. 2 or 3 years later. So, to get this '50s ad, we have her with the goons are dressed up as kids, one a boy, one a girl. The fish, the same fisherman goons, which is hilarious. Always when like the kiss the cook apron and everything, and of course Joker off camera is basically giving the '50s narrator voice, which is funny. Gee, Mom, wondering what to feed the family tonight. I wonder what I'm going to feed the family tonight. And Joker wearing a Gordon's fisherman outfit. Just
oh God, he's like in kind of a subconscious way, like another jab at the Colonel. Like he just really wants to be some sort of food mascot.
I really do, Tiki. I really do think it's Joker messing with the whole like the icon. Again, it's kind of this. Again, it's like Joker again adding flair to a crime that again means the crime's a smokescreen just to justify him messing with Batman. But looking at it for what it is, the other way you can look at it is it's Joker just making fun of fast food mascots and ads and everything, and just making fun of like of mascots. Yeah, it's delightful. Arr, you try me, famous Joker fish. The smiling smelt, giggling grouper, happy haddock.
And then at the end of the day, it's just Joker in like a really big trench coat, basically.
It is, and now it's of course Alfred here with the great snide comment on the side. Again, it's really it's like something bad's happening here, but at least Alfred's keeping it light, saying this could cause a stampede to pork. Of course, he's tried, the Joker fish coming to me. He makes Harley eat the fish, and it's just, Mr. J, I have a little problem with fish, and he usually shoves it in her mouth. Yummy, yum, yum. Just, of course, you just go, and this still cracks me up. Just she off screen. I love it because you can't get away with this on, for some reason, the animation you couldn't really get away with this in the 90s on like Nickelodeon is probably the closest place you can get away with something like this. But there's always something about they're very anti-vomit in animation. But this is even funnier though. Where Harley Quinn off screen, you hear her like retching as Joker in this Gordon Fisherman outfit. He's saying tasty, tempting, and again as like you hear like blah, tasty, tempting. We cut to the henchman saying, and naturally low in cholesterol.
God.
And we have this, oh god, it's coming soon to a store near you. As soon as that, and again, this is the word, just the wheels come off in a great way. This is where Joker takes off the fisherman.
This is what we're talking about with Mark Hamill, where the switch just happens like, as if a light switch just goes off from, charming and funny to menacing. Like he's like switching from Jack Nicholson Joker to Heath Ledger Joker.
Exactly, and you think, you think it's like, okay, it's gonna be like a happy-go-lucky commercial, and Batman's gonna have to trace it or something. But no, we don't go that route at all. What happens is he removes the hat, and again, this is pulling from Batman #1 right here. It's like the Joker on TV, like announcing whose next target's gonna be and such here, where he says, as soon as that nasty old Mr. G. Carl Francis gives me my legal cut of the profits. And we have this great and Tiki, the transitions, as you said, are great in this episode here because we have this transition from Batman watching in the Batcave to terrified G. Carl Francis and the GCPD watching it at a safe house. And Bullock saying, change the channel, and says, I hope you've changed your mind, Mr. Francis, because I haven't changed mine. He holds like a little pocket watch up, and we cut from that to the clock at the safe house. So, again, a really great ticking clock. He has till midnight. And by the way, the 24-hour cycle, because all of this is one night. All of this is like from midnight to roughly 3 a.m. It's a really great timetable in this whole episode when you really think about it. It's all happens within the span of a day. Not even a day, really. Just honestly, it's like nighttime when it goes to see Carl Francis. So it's about, I don't know, a couple hours, really. It's like less than 10 hours. Okay, let's see. So basically, the GCPD are comforting Carl Francis here. They're saying, "Relax, Mr. Francis." Bullock says he has men posted. No one's sneaking in here tonight. And then this is a shot that I gotta tell you, Tiki. I rewatching it. I caught something that, again, the mark of anything really everlasting is that you notice things every time you come back to it. And I know somebody came back to this episode.
What do you have?
They have a great Batman entrance here, and not only is it a great entrance, but we have something. Let's say what it is first. So we have Batman has one of the great Batman entrances here, where we reveal he was a cop undercover.
Yes, great. Oh God, that was great.
Batman in the cop uniform saying, "If I got in this easy, so will the Joker." And here's the thing. Years later, I just calling a rewatch here is that if you look in the wide shot, you can see Batman in the police uniform there. It's like basically he's in the getup, but like the ears are covered by the hat, but you see like a guy in a mask in the room there. It's just he's in the background before his dramatic entrance. That's awesome. It's great.
In there, like I wonder how long it's just like, gee, I wonder when I need to whip out this bat disguise.
He's been there for at least like 2 to 3 hours, Tiki, and no one's noticed him. Great.
I would like an episode just solely devoted to like what goes on in that like downtime of being Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Batman eating some donuts.
Oh God.
All right, Bullock say, "Where's my donut? Hey, someone ate my donut." I'm saying it not as a stereotype, folks. I'm saying this, and Bullock, as we see in the animated series, does have a propensity for donuts.
Mm.
All right. So let's see. So again, Batman revealed to be in the cop uniform, which is just so darn clever, and I love it. And I don't know if that part. I think that part's directly from the Laughing Fish, or I don't. It's probably not. No, wait, no. I know what I'm thinking of. In Batman #1, Joker's in the police uniform, and that's where they got the That's where they got it for the Dark Knight, where Joker's as the cop at the funeral. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they were inspired by putting Batman in the cop uniform. I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting. Anyway, so basically, Bullock's very again. And this speaks to the thing I've been training you for, Teague. I've been training you for the whole Bullock Batman dynamic for this very episode, where you see how these two guys interact with each other, and you see that Bullock's very anti-Batman. He's like, he's saying, "Hey, this is police business. Haul your back butt out of here." And Gordon's, of course, he's allowing Batman to be here because no one knows the Joker's methods better than Batman, which again makes sense. And why I love this character so much. He's like, yeah, of course, we want Batman on our side to work at this thing. Otherwise, we're gonna spend days trying to catch him. Many people are gonna die. Let's just get him in on this. Cut out the middleman. Of course, good old Gordon sticking up for Batman. Of course, Bullock just very, very, very anti-vigilante in the way that works. Long underwear wearing geek glory hug. So,
I really like this next moment right here, where the guy's like, Batman. It's a very humanizing moment. Like, why is this happening to me? I'm just an average guy. I can't change anything. I'm not important.
Of course, Batman's response is, in his sick mind, that's the joke.
And I don't know, Dragon. I just say there's something about like Batman like sticking up for the little guy and like kind of extending the olive branch. You know what I mean?
I know, and I agree with you, Tika. That is a great little standout moment there. We don't get that every day. Like, yeah, Batman interacting with people. There's usually like saving their lives. Never really. There's not a lot of mingle time with Batman and kind of the average Joe that he's saving, which is always kind of nice to see those moments unfold. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he is kind of fighting for people not to be afraid of the superstitious and cowardly. It's kind of what he's aiming for in this moment. Speaks that he's trying to build up courage in this guy, which would make sense. All right. So let's see. Oh boy, here we. So we have that Shirley Walker music, and again, I think it's the grander irony of where the episode's going with the third act. But you do have kind of a shark-like effect, like a Jaws-like musical effect, where you hear that Shirley Walker Joker theme. Like, basically, she took the Joker theme and kind of pushed it in all sorts of directions. You have the straightforward Joker theme, and you have like doing that with organ music, and then you have it done with this Bernard Herrmann-esque effect to it, and that's what we do here. We use like the Bernard Herrmann-esque version of it here.
Mm-hmm.
Where we see this truck, this fish truck on the outside, driving fastly, and then it pulls outside the house, and we see this big swordfish with a Joker smile on it. We cut to the inside, and this is really well edited. I love how we build the tension here. This moment, it's so great, and this always stuck out to me here. Where Batman, G. Carl Francis is scratching his hands here, and and then Batman's like, "Hey, are you all right?" He's like, "Yeah, just today's been so crazy. I haven't even washed the gunk the Joker's girl squirted me with." And then, oh my God, this will always haunt me. Batman just says, in the most dramatic, awesome way possible, he says, "Get this man to a hospital now!" You see Gordon and Bullock's horrified reactions.
Up to 11, it's just like, okay, here we go. Like we're really in a situation now. If Batman's saying this, like, all right, like forget all the police procedures. Like we really need to act on this.
And if you're watching this, like this. Basically, this guy could die within 3 ways. This could go 3 ways. Or one, he could just be the minute the clock strikes midnight. The tension of this is so mountingly awesome. Where we see Gordon Bullock's horrified reaction as the clock strikes 12, and like, oh my God, no! And then you imagine he's going to drop like a fly in that moment. But no, it's even more spectacular than that. So the swordfish launches like a missile from the truck outside, crashes through, and we follow it as again the music's amping up like in that Bernard Herrmann-esque. It's like a Jaws version of that. As like crashing through the window, and we again like now we're smashing piano keys in the score. It's like everyone's ducking out of the way, and Batman at the very last second he saves Francis by shoving him to the ground before he's impaled by the thing. And again, Joker would still win even if he got impaled by a laughing fish. It's a win-win all around for the guy, really.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's the thing. Like Francis could have died three ways. Like he could have died just by the strike at 12, by the swordfish, and the fact that Joker would go to these extreme lengths he just wants to have the most flair possible during all this. So initially, okay, it looks like Batman saved the day here, but then a purple gas, and this is the commercial break too. The purple gas fills the room, and we linger on the smiling fish impaled into the wall as they're all coughing. It looks like they're all goners for a moment. Great. So, cut back to commercial, and we see that Francis, everyone seems fine, but then Francis is coughing. It's this little piglet of a guy, just you, and he's just in the God, and George DeZunza, he voices all of our victims. By the way, he's the next guy too, and he's he nailed the Joker victim laugh, the Joker toxin. In fact, he's infected by the Joker toxin. We see this really scary image. And what was your reaction to this image?
Yeah, because as you know, the Mask of the Phantasm equivalent to this really got to me, Dragon, and this got to me too. I mean, what got to me is that they don't necessarily linger on it. It's just like it happens, it's a quick burst, and then it's over. And that to me is like almost all the more haunting because it's almost like a seizure of laughter. You know what I mean? It's like it's just I don't know, it gets under your skin, you know what I mean? It's very creepy. Very creepy.
See, that's the thing, Tiki. This is the first use of legitimate Joker toxin in the animated series. The very first use of it, because before you had like the April Fool's Day episode, the thing's called Last Laugh. And Last Laugh, it's basically Joker uses just generic, like anything you'd find at a dentist's office. Just uses like a garbage barge full of laughing gas so people just laugh, which is dangerous if you breathe in too much of that. But it's not the Joker toxin. Like, it's not like you having the Joker's face on your face. It's just you're laughing uncontrollably.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is horrifying. And basically, the animated series, with standards and practices, what happened was, until something like Mask of the Phantasm being a little divorced from like the usual, again, they can get away with blood and death and everything in Mask of the Phantasm, they get away with it. But until like the New Adventures of Batman, when they were on a different network, they couldn't get away with killing someone with the Joker toxin. But it's still quite a horrifying idea, because the idea is he's alive, but because basically he breaks out in laughter. He has the Joker's face, the yellow teeth, the yellow eyes. Oh god, it's so horrifying. And Batman quickly, he uses the antitoxin that he's worked up to inject him and basically stop him from laughing, presumably laughing himself to death.
Yeah, it's definitely like kind of in that realm of body horror. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's just like the fact that they don't linger on it, the fact that it's just like a quick kind of like impulsive thing. It's it's quick and dirty and it's over before you know it, but it leaves a lasting impact.
And the implication has always been this to you. The implication has always been that you never see the Joker's victims again. So there is a legitimate case that they could be stuck with the Joker grin for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's the scary thing, is that sometimes, again, it's called an antitoxin, where usually sometimes rarely do you see the people cured from the antitoxin, but the point is like they're going to survive, but they might not live well, which again, that's the way they kind of got away with, like, we're not going to kill anybody, we're going to do something twice as horrifying.
Also, I just really love Gordon's horrified reactions.
Oh yeah. All right, so let's see. So Bullock's asking, we breathe the gas and we're not smiling, and then we have, and again, this is right from the book, so I don't know why Bruce Timm's like he feels so insecure about this, because they did it really well. It's like do you like the binary compound idea?
I'm sorry, what?
Batman says it's a two-part binary compound where he was sprayed with the perfume earlier, and now
right. Yeah, honestly, I thought it made sense. It was, it was kind of like some pseudoscience. There was a little bit of a stretch, but I think if you want to hit one victim and one victim only, I think it was good. It was set up well, at least.
Yeah. Again, I like it. So, nothing
against it.
Okay, so then right after this, and it's so well orchestrated here. So right after midnight, as he had foretold, then the Joker's on the news. He's hijacked the news again, and he's doing this newscast. So I love it's a different set every time. It kills me. It's the Joker's doing this newscast. Former copyright director G. Carl Francis taking an extended vacation. He has like this. It's like when you watch a newscast, you have the picture behind the guy, and then it has like this cartoony, like crayon smile on the guy. It says, "Looks like he's having fun already, but I'm not happy." And again, it's that turn, man. But I'm not happy. My next target is number 2 bureaucrat, Thomas Jackson, at 3 a.m. Basically, has until 3 a.m. to change his mind.
Mhm.
So again, all of this done in one night. And then here's the moment. This is the other moment I was referring to right here. This is the moment where it's like, oh my God, one of the coolest Batman moments. If you need something to summarize how Batman feels about the Joker and how all of this goes, and like it's like truly great moment. Like this moment still gives me chills years later, man. This is the moment that like, oh, it's my Batman. Where Joker says on the TV, he says, "Now Batman, because I know you're watching. Here's a message from our sponsors." Joker taunting Batman here, and then the Shirley Walker Batman theme plays. Dun, dun. It's like in the background though, and as Harley Quinn's face is on the TV as she's singing the jingle. They're finny and funny and oh so delicious. And just bang, just Batman hits the TV to turn it off. Yeah, that's my Batman right there, man. That's it.
Yep. Pretty good stuff.
Yes, so awesome. Okay. All right, so then we have a very iconic scene from the Laughing Fish book here with the next victim. This to me I think is the very iconic scene from the episode. And it's from all sorts of. This is a horror. I think it's the scariest scene in the whole thing.
Dragon, you're gonna have to kind of like run it by me exactly what's happening.
Okay, so Joker's announced his next target, which is Thomas Jackson, number 2, another copyright guy. So it's very cleverly staged because Batman is at the window and we don't see his face. Batman's at the window, Jackson's sitting in his chair, and again, we're not getting clear view at either guy's face. Bullock's saying, "Just for the record, I think this whole Batman business is the lamest idea." And again, Tika, this is one of those lines. If I ever needed something to summarize in my own head what Jim Gordon like sounds like, it's going to be duly noted, Lieutenant. That's Bob Hastings, Jim Gordon to me. It's like just that whole like, yeah, Bullock's griping about something. Duly noted, Lieutenant. Yep. So, but we're duly noted, Lieutenant. But we're going to try it his way. So basically, they're giving Batman a shot here for like a way of foiling the Joker's next attack. And again, I love how Batman's being proactive here. So. This cat. So Thomas Jackson has a cat, and this is all from the book, but even if you don't know that, it's still really cool. They have this cat that basically walks through the police barricade on the outside, walks through the guards and everything, carrying a fish in its mouth. It goes through like a little cat door. And I love this. I love how the cat's making its way into the house, and we have this cat clock, like, the cat-eyed clock, which again, it's like a great foreshadow of something bad's about to happen involving a cat. So Gordon's thinking this is working. Okay, it's 3 a.m. and not a cackle from that hyena. So then the cat enters, and he says, "Oh, it's just my cat." And then you hear, again, we go to the wide shot, and Batman's in shadow, as he many times is in Batman the Animated Series. And I love the lightning. The lightning effect looks great. There's lightning all throughout this episode, and it's been raining, and it's lightning the whole night, and it feels very Dark Knight Returns-esque with how great this lightning looks and how it's just kind of making the shadows pop in this episode. So it's like this...
lighting, but the angles and the music, it just all comes together. It's very operatic. It's it feels very Phantasm-esque.
And in this moment, it's like the exclamation point behind a Joker fish, lightning.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Joker fish, and so basically Thomas Jackson, he jumps to try to grab the cat, and again, the cat's going to go for Thomas Jackson, but what happens is the cat bites Batman. And when it does that, I'm sorry, I guess it's correct. It jumps, it leaps out of. You're expecting Jackson to get it, and he leaps from Jackson to Batman, and you hear like that, and like you hear like the slash of the claws or the bite or whatever, and you then see probably the most horrific image in Batman the Animated Series, one of the top tier.
Yeah, Dragon. This was like, I was just like, what the hell is going on, man? This is nightmare fuel right here.
This terrifying image of a laughing Batman who's been infected by Joker toxins.
Oh my God, the teeth. You know what it reminds me of? You're gonna love this.
What?
You know the Tony Robbins cutaway gag from Family Guy?
Oh yeah, you're right. It is kind of Robbins' ass.
Tony Robbins hungry.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're right. It is. Wow. Oh God. So we then
Or just
again,
how wide open his mouth is, you know what I mean?
and again, if and you hear George DeZunz's voice coming out of this Batman, so it's kind of a little clue that everything's okay, but still horrifying. Where Thomas Jackson then basically injects Batman with the anti venom, and he removes the mask. We have this great piano like as we reveal that Jackson's wearing the Batman costume. They pulled a bait and switch. They were trying to get him to they were trying to get him to go for Jackson, who was really Batman, so Batman could catch whatever was going to try to kill Jackson. They would have an advantage over the Joker. You follow?
Yeah, I'm following now. Yeah, yeah.
So that was the idea, and that's again, it's the whole. It's these. Batman was just trying to get it not to go for. Again, they were putting the guy in the Batman costume for his protection, but it even, as Batman says, even drugged, it still went for its master. They were trying to trip it up, but no, it's like the animal could sense its master.
Right, makes sense. Makes sense.
So Bullock's had it, and Bullock's like, this unsuccessful attempt does not fill Bullock with confidence. And again, I think because it was really uber Batman dependent, that's what really pushed Bullock over the edge. Like, okay, another victim is had because of Batman. Again, I think the greater commentary is that he's messing with Batman. We're paying the consequence for it. So again, I think Bullock has a underlining point to the episode, which is the age-old question of Batman: does he invite madness into Gotham, or would it be this way without him?
Yeah, and I feel that question is just kind of like underlined throughout the whole rest of the episode.
Kind of comfy there, though. I kind of like, I like that it's not in your face because yeah, it's the idea we have so many other times in the series, but this one, it's like you kind of feel it through Bullock.
Oh,
So Bullock goes alone essentially, and as Bullock leaves I got my own leads. Basically he's going to run his own investigation on it. Batman brings Jim over. Batman's back in the suit, and he says, "Jim, look at this. Look at the fish here. You notice anything about it? It's a Japanese tang, not native." And Gordon knows it's not native to Gotham's waters. And where do you find a Japanese tang? And then we cut to the aquarium. So basically, this section to the end, Tika, this is from Five Way Revenge, one of the most iconic Joker stories ever written. This whole thing with the aquarium and the shark, all of that.
okay. Yeah, yeah. In Dragon, I don't know, it struck my fancy just because, as you know, I love seedy boardwalks. It's one of my favorite fictional locations. So I was just like, just on a strictly personal level, I'm like, yay, seedy boardwalk and aquarium and like a seedy rundown tourist trap and the Joker taking advantage of it. This is just taking all the like personal, nostalgic, like weird, like taste that I just it's very much something that for me.
Yeah. So Bullock, it's a very noir-esque scene here where Bullock's walking into the aquarium alone. Kind of classic detective, kind of walking in the place. And Bullock is outgunned by Harley Quinn, using her. Well, if they ain't laughing, boys, little hench wench. And of course, like, you're outgunned, coppers. See, and then basically, I think this is the first time Harley has done this. And again, Paul Dini loved writing. Of course, Paul Dini really was he created Harley Quinn. Bruce Timm got artistically brought to life, but I mean that with any malice. I'm just like saying, like, Paul Dini loved to come up with things for Harley Quinn. Is what I'm getting at here. So he came up with the idea of the pop gun. So the pop gun, you fire it because he saw like I forget if it was in Korea or not. There's like this air, like an air gun, like one of those air bazookas.
Yeah.
It had something like that for like a giant pop gun, and basically Paul Dini he was inspired by that to give her like a pop gun, where if she would fire like the cork at the end of the gun, it looks like a fake gun to the untrained eye, and she would fire it, and it would either have like explosive rounds, like big bullets, or in this case, for standards practices, like giant wrapping confetti. So Bullock is now trapped, and he's wrapped in this like bonds that he can't break. And in an instant, so awesomely, he is then hooked by the Joker on a fisherman's chair and a fisherman's hat and everything. I just love Joker committing to the fish theme in so many different forms.
Yeah, man, Joker, he's a man who has passion for what he does. You know what I mean? If he's got a hobby and if he's got a mission, he's gonna stick to it. He's not gonna half-ass it.
So he's hooked Bullock. Oh, look at what I got here. Kind of runty, though. I'm gonna have to throw it back. And in throwing it back, he's lowering him to a shark tank. Oh, yeah. So as he's lowering,
what I love about this whole scenario is that it's one of those things where this could literally have been the Batman the Animated Series jump the shark moment, because it's literally Batman going toe to toe with a shark.
it is, and again, it's so much better than no offense to the '60s Batman, so much better than him beating the rubber shark. Like, this is the closest they ever got to a shark repellent gag. You know, it's the closest they ever got to that.
Oh,
But also, I gotta tell you, and again, I don't want to mean to cast any shade at Five Way Revenge, because again, they kind of got the idea from that. But again, this feels so much better than what they did there, because essentially there was a Joker tossed a guy in a wheelchair into a shark tank. That's the way it went. Batman. Basically, that's the way it went. It was basically him saving a guy in a wheelchair. But this was so because Joker was getting revenge on 5 people, hence the 5-way revenge. And I guess the last guy was the guy in a wheelchair. But again, making it Bullock, making it somebody that we care about, someone who's a little bit more, notable, and someone who, again, who has like a vendetta, someone who is not trusting of Batman that Batman has to save. Again, all of that I think is really, again, it's an improvement in my opinion.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, so Bullock. Before we get to that point, so Bullock right now is being lowered in there. He says, "Yeah, you'll never." He's like, "Bullock, you're a lousy cop, but you make a terrific worm." A great line. You won't get away with this, and this is what Mark Hamill brings to the Joker right here, folks. The unpredictable quality, where a moment of pause goes by, and Joker, the smile on his face turns to a bit of a frown, and he says, "He's right, you know." And again, not in like a big, like a foiled again way. He just says, "He's right, you know." Just a realization. And Harley's asking, "You're kidding." Again, we have this tension with the shark underneath Bullock and everything. It's about to get him, and again, he's just kind of stopped reeling him in. He says, "If this lunch meat figured out where I am, Batman's not far behind. And why spoil my sharky's appetite when I can feed him bigger fish?" Of course, so then Harley, she's had it at this point. Says, again with the fish. I hate fish. And of course, she realizes she's pissing off the Joker. She says, "No offense, Mr. J." "Oh, poor Harley. This cape has been awfully rough on you, hasn't it?" Mm-hmm. "Cheer up. You can be my very own little mermaid." "Oh." She put then Joker. Sorry, I just love that he has these props at the ready. He has this giant, like, imagine the opposite of the reverse of a mermaid. It's like the giant fish head instead of the fish legs. He just puts this giant rubber fish head on Harley, and only her eyes are showing. It's a great visual. I have the action figure. Again, all the great animated series figures they're doing. I have like some of the laughing fish stuff, and they have like the thing you can put on Harley, which is the giant fish head. Which just cracks me up. And
one of my favorite Harley lines so far, which is, "You're really sick, you know that, boss?"
Mm-hmm.
There's a Blue Meanie quality to Joker's delivery there. The whole.
Oh yeah, definitely. And again, Tiki, this episode I think it's just batting 1,000 for like the iconic. Like, if you need like a summation for the dynamics that these characters have with each other. Again, you got Batman and Gordon, you got Bullock and Gordon, you got all sorts of, Alfred and Batman, of course, Joker and Harley. It's like in that moment is like it's Joker and Harley. He's acting. You get the whole thing of like Harley's, she's subservient to the Joker and she likes him, but of course Joker treats her like crap. But again, with a smile on his face, there's a softness there with like how he like, "Oh, poor Harley," and then of course just finds an excuse to kick her while she's down. That's their dynamic. Again, like a beautiful little bit there. It's great. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's see. So basically, a proximity alarm goes off, which is the Joker's theme song, which I love. It's just like dun 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 dun. And then he just randomly, it's so fun and so random. He uses a whoopee cushion to signal his henchmen to grab the harpoons and get ready, be on the lookout for Batman. So let's see. So then we have here's the Flesher moment. Tiki takes one of the Flesher moments.
Yeah, basically the rooftop thing, right?
Yeah, so he's like, first we have this, and this is one of the great like painted images. It's like in the Two-Face episode.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish I could screen share it right now, Dragon. It's so striking because basically all we see is the, it very much reminds me of like Chernobog from Bald Mountain almost.
It is. It looks very reminiscent.
Lighting to it.
Yeah, I mean, Tika, I have like a few.
I don't know. It's just like I said, it's almost like you could frame it as a painting almost, and the animation is so fluid. It looks like it was rotoscoped.
It does, and here's the cool thing, Tiki. It's in many Batman books. Usually, if you find an image of Batman or something reminiscent of the animated series, like there's this book I have called Batman Animated. It's like based on this little, it's like a coffee table book about Batman the animated series. And like the first image in the thing is the Batmobile still painting. It looks so good.
Right, right.
So basically, as the car's in motion, he using again. We even got my favorite Batman gadget in the episode, of course, using the grappling gun. He mid ride, and while the car's still moving, he grapples out of the car because Batman's that cool. Grapples onto the building. The animation looks great as he. And this is this is absolutely the Flesher moment right here, where we have some wonderful shadow work where he's on the rooftop and there's like this broken, again, it's an abandoned aquarium. It's in bad shape, and he basically walks through the broken glass of the window. And the animation, folks, is so hard to describe except for Flesher, because just the shadow work on him, like he's entirely in silk.
Like something out of the 50s Dragon. That's the thing. You know what I mean? It's very much just like it almost looks like the underwater sequences from Pinocchio in a way. That's another way I could kind of describe it.
But again, the Chernabog thing is, again, because he's in blue and black like Chernabog is. That's the reason. Again, it's a dead ringer. So he basically makes it. Basically, folks, the best way of putting it is in shadow. He goes through this window and he kind of scales down this bat rope, and he in silhouette he has this flashlight, and all of it done like this beautiful seamless animation. It's like the best Batman entering a place stealthily could look in animation, with the lightning behind him giving him light. That's the best way of putting it. So he's in the aquarium and he's using these fish, and everywhere he goes with the aquarium. Again, you know what I mean. I love Batman in shadow with a flashlight. You know, it's one of my favorite definitive images of Batman. It's a great one. And he's looking around doing detective work, and and you see him looking at the fish, and all the fish in each part of the aquarium have smiles on their faces, which then leads to the big one, which reveals Joker. And we have Joker like leaning against one of my favorite images for the episode too is like Joker leaning against one of the aquarium exhibits and says, "And this fella here came with his own grin." And Tiki, this is another one of those moments that, again, for years I didn't pick up on this, but it just blew me away rewatching it. Is that I've known that line, but I never knew exactly why. I just thought it's just Joker having a good line, but I realized he's doing something in the scene that justifies what he's doing in that scene. That made it that blew my mind. Where it's this great image of Joker like posing next to the shark, and he has like the big Joker smile, and the idea that the Joker toxin can only work so far, and you can't Joker toxin piranhas or sharks. Like that's where the line. That's the only thing you can't use the Joker toxin on in regards to fish.
Mm-hmm.
And the point is, the shark just has this giant, tooth-filled kind of face, and Joker's pose. I never caught after so many years. He's arcing with his arms, like the way he's presenting the shark, and the way his one arm is angled. He's making the shark's frown into a smile from the outside.
Right. Yeah.
He's basically cutting off like the part of the frown and basically lining up against his own face. See the resemblance. That's I'm sorry. That's the line specifically. That line right there. Like, see the resemblance. It makes so much more sense now.
Mm-hmm.
So just oh my god, just one of the great introductions here. But check out my catch of the day, and of course, we reveal Bullock hanging above the shark here. And the Bullock spits out this fish that's been stuck in his mouth. Patooey! I didn't need no stinking back computer to figure out that minnow came from an aquarium. Good Bullock line. Good detective work. And of course, and again, these are the lines that are always echo in my mind whenever I could replay this thing in my head till I grow old, Tiki. But it's yes, well, this is all tremendously boring. I can always amuse myself watching Harv give my shark indigestion. Harley's like, yeah, and she's lowering Bullock into the tank, into the shark-infested tank, and then Batman, of course, Batman's sticking up for Bullock here. Batman very heroically saying, "Let him go. I'm the one you're after," pleading with the Joker here, like, "Come on, I'm the one you're after. Put me in there instead." And Ah, gee, and let my guppy go hungry. And this is the line of that gives me chills here, and it's great. I don't know. What do you think we can do about that? Because you know exactly what he wants to do. He wants to put Batman in Bullock's place right now. Like, oh god. And here we go. Here's one of the iconic images, Tiki, of Batman from the back, chained. Basically, he's cuffed from his hands are cuffed behind his back, and he's like chained up. Joker on the side, being all happy-go-lucky because he's got Batman right where he wants him in a death trap involving a shark. Like everything's going Joker's way today. Maybe you're right, Harley. Fish are disgusting.
You know, the ultimate heroic quality to Batman. It's like he's basically, you know, you got to figure Batman at least thinks he's got a fighting chance against the shark, but you don't know. You know, he doesn't know he's coming out of this alive.
And that speaks to one of the glorious things about Batman as a character on the whole, is that he's a guy he's willing to die any ridiculous death so long as it saves somebody. That's the thing. Like one of the great Batman lines we'll get to one of these days is that he doesn't know who's going to do him in, be anybody. And like what that means by it could be like dying by coin related or two themed crime from Two Face. It could be like die by a giant question mark, like a 60s style question mark. You don't know it's going to kill him, but he's always he'll do it to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then Joker has like the last of the fast food gags, which is hilarious. You're right, Harley. Fish are disgusting. I think I'll use my toxin on cattle. Joker burgers. Talk about a happy meal. It's even funnier given McDonald's did do a Batman the Animated Series toy line to promote Mask of the Phantasm unsuccessfully. So it's quite funny when you think about that. And it is the same year actually. All this does happen in the same year. So I don't know. I wonder how intentional that was. So, of course, Batman not responding says, "You never could take a joke." And this is the image I'm talking about here. This is like one of the cool images from the book here, but it looks so much better. I have a statue of this, actually. Not of like the motion itself, but essentially of this bit here, where Joker, he kicks Batman. You have this great image of Batman chained from behind. I don't know what it is to get. I think it's just the shape of like the cape being like not flowing like it usually is. I think that's why it kind of stuck with me. Like Batman being in a seemingly helpless position than the usually kind of awesome looking hero pose. And he's kicked in from behind into the water, and I have this great statue they put out of basically Batman chained up in the water with Joker like stepping on him like he's a podium or something with holding a Joker fish. It's a really cool looking statue. From the animated series, though. Anyway, I've been releasing a lot of great stuff like that in recent years. But okay, let's see. Getting back to the point, you want to take us through some of the Shark Tank stuff?
Yeah. Well, did you already mention the Joker pushing Harvey in?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, because that is one of the most evil things I've seen the Joker do on this series. Honestly,
Really interesting.
well, if you think about it, just the fact that the Joker got Batman to sacrifice himself,
Mm-hmm.
like take Harvey's place. And then what does the Joker do immediately afterwards just to get the last laugh? He tosses Harvey in, but not only does he toss Harvey in, but he gives Harvey this huge fucking chunk of meat. The shark is going to go after Harvey and not Batman. Dragon. There's just something very sadistic about that to me. That to me is honestly kind of the most memorable thing about the whole episode.
But the casualty of which he does it too is like he had like the meat to prove a point. The whole talk about a happy meal and the whole Joker burger thing.
He's like using one of his props, and he's like, "Wait a minute! I could use this prop for more than just symbolism. I could use it for a plot specific thing."
Yeah, of course, Bullock saying he doesn't stand a chance.
Wall breaks a little bit.
He does kind of. It's like Bullock saying he doesn't stand a chance against that monster, and this is the casual that I'm talking about here. Like, yeah, catch. That's the evilness of it all, right there. Just yeah, you're right. Here, catch. In a way, he's kind of fulfilling Bullock's observation there. Well, now he does stand a chance. You're welcome. So he's pushed Bullock in there with the bloody meats, and now the shark's going to him. And Joker. Now this is an inspired choice, by the way. It's such a weird angle. I mean, I really want to get your take on this. So we see Joker just laughing hysterically at nothing to us, the audience. He's seeing, I guess, Bullock and Batman struggle. You're like Bullock's like banging on the top. He's Joker.
Yeah, when Bullock gets trapped underneath the glass, man. It's a pretty Hitchcockian, like, suspenseful moment right there. You know what I mean? It does kind of get under your skin and be like, oh man, like this is a pretty helpless situation.
Because he does, again, Joker, but again, at the same time, all this really horrific stuff's happening under the water. Yet Joker's like, la la dee, la la la, just hits the little switch that basically seals up the glass. Just being all, it's like in a Warner Brothers cartoon. Well, he is in a Warner Brothers, you know what I mean. Anyway, so the thing gets sealed up, and all this panics. Then he's just laughing hysterically at what we're not seeing. And again, I love that we're focused on that instead of the image, because you ordinarily would just see them scrambling from the other side of that perspective. We're just seeing this man losing himself, and just how hysterically evil thing that he's just done.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. So then Batman. This is the big, again, this whole Batman taking on a shark thing is this image from the book here, where he's using the chain. He basically, again, Batman being the escape artist that he is, he's gotten the chains out from his back in front of him, and he's getting the shark away from Bullock, and he's basically kind of saddled the shark by using the chain, putting the chain in between the shark's big mouth, and using that to free himself, and also steer the shark in like coral and everything, and break it. I guess it's a really well animated sequence, like crashing through the coral and everything, like this giant like coral rock or whatever it is. It cracks the glass. Originally, it was a wheelchair from the comic, but again, it's even more dynamic. Batman's he's armed with less, and it's kind of
cool. And again, Dragon, it's Batman riding a shark, and it could be so ridiculous. You know what I mean? It could very well be the same. It sounds like the setup for a joke. You know, it sounds like there's so many ways it could go wrong, but it doesn't, and it's awesome, and it just serves as like this perfect kind of like punctuation point to the near the climax of an already really great story.
And again, this feels like deserving of like a classic Batman escape of like he's trapped in a tank with a shark. It sounds ridiculous, but he is.
Yeah. It's almost kind of like an A grade death trap. You know, it's like an all-star of death traps.
Yeah. So let's see. So basically, now the tank is cracked, and essentially he kind of rides the shark. The tank is cracked, and he kind of rides the shark. Again, this sounds like an awesome thing, doesn't he? He riding a shark. Batman crashes through the glass along with the crack that has been formed thanks to that coral. Like spoosh, smashes right through, and he's riding this wave with a shark out the tank. And that's really cool.
Right.
Harley and the goons, they fall into like a different tank, so like they're taken care of. Meanwhile, Joker he hits the while laughing, he hits the button on he tries to escape, and he hits the elevating button on the fishing rod, the little fishing chair.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Joker's laughing and being silly. And again, this great Shirley Walker. Basically, the room's flooding. He's trying to get himself out of there. So he looks up and he realizes, oh no, because the escape, basically you could go to the ceiling using this thing, but it's abandoned, so it's all boarded up, and he basically realized, oh, I'm about to crash into the ceiling. So boom, that happens. Meanwhile, the shark, importantly, gets flooded out through the doors and into the outside water on the waterfront. So
you're goddamn right, Dragon. No sharks were hurt in the making of this production.
Let's just see if it can survive going into like to a water treatment plant or something.
I just want like a shark spin-off.
I know, T. Here's how you get your shark spin-off. You ready for this?
All right.
Shark got mutated and it became King Shark, and it's in the Flash show.
Oh my God! Yes.
So. The very same. Okay, no, in all seriousness, getting back to the point here. So Batman checks on Bullock, and this is really nice. Again, Bullock and Batman don't have really many heartwarming moments between each other. They really don't. And this is one of the rare glimpses of it here, where Batman checks on Bullock, and he's asking Bullock, "Are you okay?" and Bullock, very nice little tough guy. Like it's like a very John McClane moment for Bullock, you know. Just saying, just give him one for me, will you? And they have like a rare Batman smile. He just gives a smile, like, yeah, Bullock's all right, yeah. Really
Yeah,
sweet.
it's one of those things where I feel like it almost kind of like cements it where this series does get you can kind of jump in and out of the series. It will, you know what I mean? That's one of the good things about the series is the standalone nature, but it's one of those interesting things, Dragon, where as the series goes on, we build these dynamics. We build these kind of like, the Gordon and the Batman and Bullock stuff. So, it's much more rewarding to us having gone through a lot of episodes of Batman and Bullock to get to that point. You know what I mean? It's very interesting that it kind of works both ways. It works as both a really good standalone episode and also kind of like in as much of the limited like character driven continuity the show has, it very much works in that regard too. It's kind of
Yeah.
important to like the very limited continuity of the show.
Oh yeah. So Batman grapples to the rooftop and he finds like again I love the visual again as a detective you can kind of see Batman putting things together here because you see the broken chair that he just elevated to the roof. It's like in shambles and everything. And what we're communicating here, and this is great, and this is like one of the again this to me is the I love this climax so much. It's a great. Well, I mean I love this final showdown so much here where. Uh, you see the Joker again, he's smashed into the roof and the chair's in shambles. And the idea is like Joker's probably got a concussion or something. And he's a little off again, he's a little scrambled right now. And Joker at his most again, Joker in himself is a dangerous guy. And the best Batman Joker fights and the whole I think the best time you execute a Batman Joker fight, look at Dark Knight Returns, look at anything, is when Joker is unhinged and not thinking right. That's when Joker's his most dangerous. And like Joker's not like a he's not a refined fighter, but he fights crazy. He fights unpredictable, which where Batman's prepared for everything, Joker is fighting like no man on in his right mind would, which kind of puts him on an even playing ground, which is scary. So we have this. This is the other Flesher shot right here. This is the Flesher shot for me. I mean, the other one's great, but this one to me is like one of the great moments of animation here. So we have Joker. You can take this out of context. You need like a brief clip of like, okay, what would a Flesher Batman look like? That's your shot. Where we have Joker laughing, walking while concussed. And he's taking a few steps and whoa, just stumbling around. And then from behind him, this amazing Batman silhouette appears, lightning behind it. And he looks Joker, like he had like this raised eyebrow, like, wait a minute. Again, it's like silent comedy. It's Joker doing silent comedy. Looks behind him and he turns around about to look about who's behind him. Batman just backhands him across the roof. It's like, yeah, it's like, yes, that looks so great, so fluid in the animation, like a Flesher style.
Right.
So this fight on the rooftop begins. Joker goes for this. They can never get away with a crowbar. So this is kind of the closest they got to the crowbar in the animated series in many respects. So Joker grabs for this toolbox on the roof because again, work was being done on the place because it was all boarded up. So a toolbox would be on the roof. I don't doubt that. So Joker grabs for I don't know if you caught this Binford Tools, a little home improvement reference.
No, I didn't catch that, but yeah, as you know, Dragon, I'm not a big home improvement guy, so.
So he grabs for this wrench and he's armed now. Joker armed with anything. Of course, we know Joker armed with anything, even a pencil. It could be dangerous, but now he's got a toolbox and he has this big honking wrench. And we have the lightning. It's like again the lightning. Every time Joker hits Batman, you have this lightning strike, and he just hits Batman in the head with this big wrench, and they have to use the lightning to kind of offset the violence a little bit, be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
So he hits him upside the head. And I remember when Dark Knight came out, somebody, I forget if it was Paul Dini commenting on the Heath Ledger Joker back when it was announced, like back when they were just kind of getting it was either Christopher Nolan or it was Paul Dini, and this would be like a line that would prove Christopher Nolan definitely watched Batman the Animated Series if it was him saying this, but it was somebody saying. The Heath Ledger, they compared the Heath Ledger Joker to this episode. Actually, they said if his side splitters don't grab you, his skull splitters will, which felt very much again. That's a direct reference to this very episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool. So just this great Batman hit upside the head, and is meanwhile back at the wrench.
I love that line, Dragon. That's one of my favorite Joker lines in the episode.
And then, of course, then we get the whole, since my side splitters don't tickle you, how about a skull splitter? And then, of course, like, and then this is like for me the most iconic Batman Joker fight. So years later, I don't mean to keep referencing it, but again, there is a bit of correlation here. Years later, like the big showdown, the Dark Knight. This is what's in the back of my mind while I'm watching it, because my barometer for like the big Batman Joker like physical battle when you have like a foreign object or something. It's like Heath Ledger hitting him with the tire iron, all that, like, beating the crap out of Batman in that Pewitt building scene. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, he goes in. This is the moment I'm here. Goes to him with the wrench, and Batman grabs the wrench. And that great flourish there. And again, they're basically getting the score as Herman-esque as they possibly can in its last moments here. So he goes for the wrench. Batman catches the wrench. Batman he disarms him, and Joker's on the edge of the roof. There's no place left to go, Joker. And Tiki, this brings it all the way back to Batman #1, which even the Dark Knight did as well. All the way back to Batman #1 here, where the way any truly great Batman Joker story ends is with a great height, is Joker falling a great distance. That's that first one ended. Like Joker falls and Batman catches him, and of course we do that directly in Dark Knight. And we do that many a time. Joker falls from it. Like Mark Hamill's always said with Batman the Animated Series, I've fallen so many times, and he always gets the thing that kills him when he's doing the Joker voice is always the like on the way down, like those laughs on the way down, or all of that.
Mm-hmm.
The Joker turns to Batman, and the perfect thing. Then it's also, I think, classically, that's always a reference to Moriarty, because Moriarty famously in Sherlock Holmes, he fell from a great height on a waterfall, and that's like that's what happened there, and that's why in the 1940s we did that with Joker, and it's just always kept.
Yeah, Moriarty was the first kind of like the first person to start that trend when it comes to villains, right?
Exactly. And again, like Joker, in many ways, that is always referred to as the Moriarty for Batman, which is true. Along with Ra's al Ghul, the two of them are the Moriartys for Batman. So. Joker he turns to him, he shrugs his shoulders, and you have this dramatic music playing. Joker looks at him all serious, and again turns on a dime here, just looks at him, and you hear this like that whistle, the little whistle thing you pull. Just shrugs his shoulders. Jumps over the edge of the roof, and you have the classic Joker theme playing at first. See, Batsy, I think of everything. Of course, he realizes the very same shark he was threatening Bullock with is swimming in the water, and you have that hurt. It sounds very Psycho as as he falls into the water, and the shark, the shark goes for him. It's like it's going after the Joker who's just fallen in the water, and then we go to the aftermath. Walk us through the aftermath.
Shoot, hold on. Sorry, man.
Well, Harley.
It's basically just kind of Harley being like poor pudding, and I love Bullock. Bullock's in this like awkward position where he's trying to comfort her the best he can, but he just doesn't know what to do with this woman. You know what I mean? This this adorable this sad Vera Farmiga-esque clown woman who's just like, come on, he was a demented, abusive, psychotic maniac. Yeah, and I'm really gonna miss him.
Really gonna miss him.
Just kind of standing there all awkwardly, like, yeah, boy, geez, what do I do with this hot mess?
So importantly, she for the last visual episode, she kissed a Joker playing card, and she threw it in the water. So we'll circle back to that. And then we have one of my favorite bits in the episode too here, where again, classic. This is the perfect way to end.
Classic, like it feels almost kind of like mythic in a way.
Yeah.
It's like have one set up for this whole the never ending game of like, all right, the Joker comes in, he does something really crazy, he goes out in a big way, and then rinse and repeat. You know what I mean? This scene kind of boils that all down.
Batman is looking. It's a really great quiet scene too, where Batman's just looking out to the water. Gordon comes up to him and he asks, "You think he's going for good?" And Batman has the perfect response. "Believe me, Jim. I wish it were true. but deep inside, I doubt it. And we have the last image of the episode. It speaks volumes. The playing card's in the water, and the shark eats it because it's always like, it's like he shouldn't survive, but he always will.
They don't even beat around the bush. They're just like, yeah, guys, he's coming back. Come on, you know he's coming back.
But and again, it's like and basically what that image represents, though, Tiki, is that again, it's always full circle in that Tiki. The events of this always like within one day. It's a day in the life for Batman. It's a day in the life for Batman and Joker going head to head like this, and that Joker's always. It circles back to the very beginning where we saw the newspaper where Joker's at large, Joker's out, Joker's like another mad Joker plot. Joker's always going to be at large and on Batman's mind, and that's what the last image of the episode is. Playing card or no, Joker's out there. He's always going to be out there, even if you think he's gone. He's going to be around, and it's going to be another day in the life like this, where we're gonna hope that Batman's on our side to help take him down. But again, if he's not, we're going to be in trouble. It's just but again, if Joker's gone, obviously he's not gone. But you know what I'm getting at, though. It's the fact that these two are always going to be at.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like kind of like this mythic, like almost like this Greek god quality to it. Call me crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so Dragon, final thoughts. You built this episode up to me quite a bit. You left it up to my imagination what it was going to be, and I gotta say, it did not disappoint. I still gotta dwell on it a little bit more if it's better than Perchance to Dream. I mean, that's calling anything better than Perchance is kind of a big step for me. But I will say, I think Perchance is probably a little bit more visually stunning. But this is just like what I like about this is how it's like it's blue meth Batman. You know what I mean? It's Batman nailed down to his core themes, his core ideas. It's like if you were to show anyone like a Batman and Joker storyline to be like, this is what these characters are like, this is what these characters are about, Dragon, it would be this. It really would be, because this episode kind of it really has its finger on the pulse and it really explores every angle of that relationship and dynamic. And it's definitely just an impressive feat of storytelling. In 22 minutes we get all this all this kind of historic kind of groundwork being laid out for these characters and the dynamic and the little song and dance that they're destined to go on forever. And yeah, just really good stuff.
Oh yeah. So this, for me, my final thoughts, maybe the recap. My thoughts, I guess, is again, this is my favorite episode. No contest. I think it's kind of the perfect Batman Joker 101. It's one of the definitive Batman Joker stories. I really think. It's definitely one of the best adaptations that improved upon the source material done in the animated series, which has happened a couple times. But again, I think this one is the creme de la creme. I mean, I love what happens with Demon's Quest. I don't think everybody would agree with that. A lot of people would say that one. I think some people think the source material is better than that one. That's fair. I get that. I'm just saying, like this one though, I feel again, this is exactly what you should do when trying to adapt something, and I think no one's going to walk away disappointed. Again, had I never read those stories, I would have. Having read them now, I say, yeah, I got the experience from those stories. Like all the highlights from those stories are in this episode. But again, taking that out of the equation, it's the best of Batman the Animated Series boiled down to its essence. It's almost like a perfect formula in a way. I'm not saying it's formulaic, but I'm saying like if there were a formula for a good Batman episode, it's like if it's not Blue Meth Batman, it is absolutely the formula for making Blue Meth Batman.
Mm-hmm.
It's I guess the way of putting it is that it's not creating something like Heart of Ice or Perchance the Dream or something like that. It's not creating something new and it's not creating something new and iconic like that. And that's the thing where if anyone says like Perchance the Dream or Heart of Ice is the best Batman episode or better than this, I'm not going to fault them. It's like, I get it, and I wouldn't disagree. I mean, this one, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. And I would argue it's the best episode. But again, those episodes are fantastic contenders. Like Almost Got Him as well. I mean, there are a lot of really great Batman episodes. The animated series is a embarrassment of riches with episodes like those, and those two are trend-setting episodes, Heart of Ice and Perchance the Dream. But what I gotta go back for this one for is that this made something everlasting. Again, it's making an episode everlasting, which is that I would be hard pressed. I think you'd be hard pressed to find this not like a top 5 or a top 10 list somewhere. Is that this thing? It's indoors, and it's like again, it's the perfect summation of Batman and Joker's dynamic. It's an episode that shows an audience and shows kids what the whole Batman Joker dance to the death is all about in a perfect way, in a perfect economy of story with visuals that stand out to this day. It holds up tremendously well. Again, it's one of the best Mark Hamill performances. There are other great ones. I think this one's up there. I can't say enough nice things about the episode. This one, it's nostalgically my favorite, and I would still say even to this day, I would still go back for this any day of the week, but it's one of many gems from Batman the Animated Series, one of the top tier. Again, definitely one of the best Joker. For my money, the best Joker episode. I love it. It's phenomenal. Love it.
All right, I have a feeling that next episode is going to be not quite as revolutionary.
Well, again, it's going up against Laughing Fish, so really any episode would be up in well, almost any episode would be in that position. All right, so I guess getting into teasing it up a little bit with Bill Dozier Batman here. Wayne Enterprise attacked a foe from the past? A ninja? Really? Can Batman defeat his old rival, or is Bruce Wayne a goner? Find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to the animated Batcave with Night of the Ninja.
Finny and funny and oh so delish. A joy